It may be WrestleMania week, but it's not just the WWE that are doing wrestling things right now. We'll get more into that tonight because this is the hashtag PWOGs report.
Hashtag that.
Philippine wrestling. Philippine wrestling.
Good evening and welcome to the hashtag PWOGs report. I am one of your co-anchors, the Señorito, Jake De Leon. We're currently in the middle of WrestleMania week, which means there's a lot of wrestling to talk about because there's a lot of wrestling happening right now. And we'll try our best to cover all that wrestling both inside and outside the WWE. Now, before we head into the news, let me throw it to my co-anchor, the social media sinister, Ken Warren.
Thanks, JDL. And this is the trigger on Twitter, Ken Warren. And just like you guys, I'm excited for WrestleMania weekend. So, let's not wait any further, and let's get straight to the first news that we have tonight. Career versus title at Hardcore Justice. Today at Hardcore Justice, Jazz puts her career on the line in exchange for a Knockouts Championship match against reigning Knockouts champion Deonna Purrazzo. Career versus title, no disrespect to a legend, but I think I know what the Jazz is all about. Looks like the Virtuosa is going to be the victor once again. Isn't that right, Susie? I mean, Susan? Unless... No. Nah. Quick disclaimer. I know the match is probably done as I speak right now, but I still chose to present this news out of respect for Jazz and her contributions to the wrestling business. I'm not spoiling anyone because I haven't seen it too, but out of respect for Jazz.
This past week, Jon Moxley issued a challenge to the next competitor who would be challenging for his IWGP United States Championship. And that person is Yuji Nagata.
Nagata-san. Grab your six-shooter. Meet me outside the saloon at dawn.
Now, Moxley mentioned in his challenge that he has a respect for the legends of the sport in pro wrestling. And Yuji Nagata is as close to a legend that we are ever going to get. Name and accomplishment in Japanese Puroresu, and Yuji Nagata has probably already accomplished it by now. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Some people may be thinking that Yuji Nagata is way past his prime, while Jon Moxley is arguably still within his wrestling prime. Now, I wouldn't count out Blue Justice just yet because his singular reply to Jon Moxley challenge was one single wow. I guess Blue Justice isn't all that scared of Death Rider.
Up next, I love this a wrestling expedition with Mike Bennett, streaming now for free on YouTube. Here's to the greatest love I've ever known. C minus diaphragm. To the art of professional wrestling by a professional wrestler despite the global pandemic. I've watched the 1 hour behind the scenes footage from this documentary feature, and it's safe to say that Mike and Maria, mostly Maria, got me to watch, but the search for the love of professional wrestling got me to stay. And lucky for you and me, this 2-hour documentary feature is streaming now for free by Asai TV on their YouTube channel. Fun fact, the executive producer of Asai TV, Brandon Bishop, used to be an indie wrestler himself, so you know this will be presented properly by an indie wrestler's perspective.
After what seems to be months of being followed by a film crew everywhere he goes, Sami Zayn's new documentary, Justice for Sami, will be coming out soon. Although there was no date attached to the trailer, we don't know exactly when coming out soon will be. Just check out the trailer, a little bit of a trailer right now.
The referees they're literally haunting my dream. I've developed a strange dislike for zebras.
The Great Liberator has been spouting out about injustices and conspiracies that the WWE has been throwing up against him. Even so much so as to invite Logan Paul onto WWE SmackDown so that he can give his conspiracy theory some clout. Now, will we finally see these injustices and conspiracies against him by the WWE after the documentary comes out? Probably not, but here's to hoping that Kevin Owens will be beating some sense into his sometimes friend, sometimes mortal enemy, Sami Zayn, at WrestleMania.
Next up, WWE Retros are making a comeback. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. As announced on the WrestleMania 37 Mattel action figure reveals by WWE Elite Squad, the legendary Mattel WWE Retro series are officially back. We all thought at the wrestling figure community that Mattel stopped at Series 10, the one with Big Daddy Cool Diesel, but no siree. After a 2-year absence in the shelves of toy stores all across America, this nostalgic toy line has finally made the hot tag from out of the blue, and what better way to do that with the late greats such as Roddy Piper, and the first ever announcer to get a Mattel retro style figure, woo-wee, Mean Gene Okerlund. What you gonna do when Hot Rod and Mean Gene's WWE Retro Series prototype run wild on you and your figure fantasies till San Diego Comic-Con, brother?
On the more extraterrestrial side of news this week, the best friends finally have an alien in their ranks. Trent made his much anticipated return from injury when he came back to help Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy defeat Kip Sabian and Miro in an Arcade Anarchy match. However, it was Chris Statlander popping out of those claw machines like the ones in Toy Story where the little green men were that made waves in wrestling news, as the galaxy's greatest alien is finally sitting with the best friends. Now, out of all the million of stables and factions in AEW, this one excites me the most because of its potential to have its own sitcom. Just imagine it, this eccentric group of people can have their own sitcom. You could name it 3 Best Friends and an Alien. Think about it, TNT.
Acknowledge me.
Here are my AMN news this week. Number 1, Josh Barnett defeated Jon Moxley at Bloodsport 6. Number 2, Mike Tyson and Chris Jericho buried the hatchet. Number 3, Leo Rush vs. Enzo Monday Night Heat music video YouTube premiere. Number 4, Kenny Omega bets $20,000 on himself at the Swingers Palace to beat Rich Swann in the title versus title match at Rebellion. And number 5, Dark Side of the Ring Season 3 is set to premiere on Vice TV on May 6.
For my side this week, we have Stone Cold Steve Austin's Broken Skull Sessions episode with Chris Jericho dropping very soon. We have the Dirty Dogs retaining their WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships. That's Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode, if you didn't know. We have Adam Cole celebrating 13 years as a pro wrestler. We have The Pinnacle versus The Inner Circle in a Blood and Guts match happening on May 5th on AEW Dynamite. And we have Jon Moxley and Nick Gage ending GCW Spring Break in a brawl. Very exciting.
For this week's weather report, we're pulling out all the stops for WrestleMania weekend. That is why we ask a helping hand from the current CWE Vixen champion, the Lion City hit girl, Alexis Lee. Champ, someone who has a feature out now on Facebook by Rough Cuts titled Like a Girl, Alexis Lee, SG's first female pro wrestler. How's the weather on top of the mountain?
Hey PWOGs, thank you so much for checking in with me, Alexis Lee, here in sunny Singapore. I think everything's about to be normal, but like is this an earthquake here in Singapore? An earthquake here in... Okay, so it's not like a natural disaster, but like, you know what would be disastrous? Is that once the world resumes, everyone will know my name. The Alexis Lee World Tour will begin. I'll be here, I'll be there, I'll be every goddamn where! Because I've made my mark in history numerous times. And you know what? I'm just getting started. Bye.
Man, we envy you get to train in a wrestling ring. What do you think, Tagamigo?
That was one of the closest things we've had to a weather report on this show to date. So thank you very much, Alexis Lee from sunny Singapore. And I hope that the Alexis World Tour starts off again very, very soon as well.
Take of the week.
Now let's take it over to our take of the week this week. And for this week, Ken and I won't be focusing on the same topic since there's so much wrestling happening on right now. We're going to have our own topic each for take of the week. For my take of the week this week, I will be focusing on NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver Night 1 and Night 2, where I guess Night 1 is Stand and Night 2 is Deliver. Now, the move to make two big shows back-to-back for a big event is not something new in professional wrestling. Ever since New Japan Pro Wrestling did it for Wrestle Kingdom, it's kind of been a normal thing recently. And you know, it's good for me because more nights equals more wrestlings. More shows equals more wrestling. It's good for the fans and it's good for the boys and the girls in the WWE. However, I didn't know that more wrestling would equal more fans in attendance because I saw an alarming rate of people in the Capitol Wrestling Center who were probably tested before they entered. They were all wearing masks. They were not socially distanced and they were screaming through their masks and chanting wrestling chants. And I know they're probably all trying to be safe and everything. I know that the WWE is gonna make them safe as much as possible. It's just that COVID is still very much a thing, NXT, and I hope that you kept every one of your fans or audience or crew members in attendance safe because that was still a huge number of people and they were not really socially distanced and 6 feet apart. So I hope you guys know what you were doing. I mean, I know we all miss the live audience, but is it really worth it if like COVID is still a thing and one big event where there's a mass gathering could just start spreading the virus all over again? That's just me. Now, my favorite match for Night 1 was Raquel Gonzalez versus Io Shirai, and my favorite match for Night 2, obviously, was the unsanctioned match between Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. If you can't catch all of the matches and you can only have time for a few matches, watching a few matches, let it be those two.
For my take of the week, I'm focusing on the Young Bucks turning on Jon Moxley. Need I say more?
That is it for our take of the week, and that is it for the hashtag PWOGs report. Catch us here every Sunday on YouTube as we bring you weekly news from all around the wrestling world.
Make sure to follow us on our social media at SenoritoJDL and at TheKenWarren. And don't forget to like this video and hit that subscribe button.
This has been the hashtag PWOGs report.
Signing off.
I mean, I think we're trying to get sync. We're trying. I'm sorry about blowing up last weekend. We're trying. We're trying our best to get synced. I understand.
Hashtag that.
Filipino wrestling. Filipino wrestling.